The most mysterious song on the internet, also known as Like the Wind, has finally been found. Fans of Lost Wave music such as Ulterior Motives might already know the backstory here, so if you do and you just want to see the newest update, just skip to this point in the timeline. But for everyone else, time for a brief history lesson. Back in 2007, a user named Anton Rydell, whose real name is Lydia, posted a snippet of an unknown song to many web forums. To the best of her knowledge, this cassette recording came from her brother back in the 1980s, possibly 1984 to be more specific. It's widely believed that the recording of this song originated on a radio broadcast of Musik für junge Leute, or Music for Young People, on NDR1 in Germany. And unlike Ulterior Motives, we actually have the full version of this song. So the main point of this search was not necessarily to find a full version of the song, but rather find out who's behind it. And although Lydia first posted about this song in 2007, the search really wouldn't take off until 2019. In April of that year, a Reddit user named Gabriel posted to various subreddits asking about the identity of the band behind the song, hoping that someone who read one of these posts would know the answer, but nobody did. And thus, r/the mysterious song was created. And this was the beginning of a 5-year search that was full of searching for leads, getting our hopes up, and ultimately being let down when they lead nowhere. People got full set lists of every single song played on Musik für junge Leute in 1984, but Like the Wind was nowhere to be found. People looked into other radio shows from the time, such as Der Club, and a lot of the songs that were played on the station around that time ended up on that same cassette mixtape Lydia had. But Like the Wind was nowhere to be found. Several artists such as Ronnie Rocket took credit for the song, with him even going so far as to file copyright claims for it. Turns out this Ronnie Rocket guy has a history of taking credit for things that aren't his, dating all the way back to the 1970s. So once again, another dead lead. One of the most prominent leads actually came from earlier this year. All right, get ready for me to butcher some German words. Hörfest 84. Hörfest, or Listening Festival, was a way for new up-and-coming bands to get their music out there and potentially get some radio play. Because Hörfest 84 was organized by NDR, and a lot of the bands that participated found their music airing on NDR radio stations later that year. And the way bands applied for this contest was to send in 1 or 2 original songs on a cassette tape to the NDR radio stations to be judged and possibly played on the air. But unfortunately, over 500 bands applied for the contest that year alone, which means the search was far from over. But over the months, bands were contacted, new leads were formed. Some participants were even able to provide old documentation that listed even more bands that participated in the contest. So it felt like we were getting closer and closer, but with no concrete lead. But everything changed in late 2024. Reddit user MaryJane1412 was looking through old newspaper articles regarding Hörfest 84 and came across a band that no one had really mentioned before. FEX. Turns out they had won a music competition in Bremen back in September of 1984, which is the exact timeline we're looking at right now. And so, as a complete shot in the dark, Mary JN reached out to one of the band members to ask if they had any existing old music to possibly rule them out. And luckily, this band member did have a bunch of old songs. He sent a couple over to the Reddit user, including one called Subways of Your Mind. Add it to the list of lost songs that we technically had the wrong title to. But yes, they provided a recording of the song that we knew as Like the Wind that, while slightly different than the recording we had, was unmistakably the same band. They provided what no other artist that claimed to be the owner of the song could: proof. FEX have long since broken up, and so the band member that was contacted kindly asked the Reddit user to hold off from making this information public until he checked in with the rest of his former bandmates. And luckily, they all agreed to let this information go public, and so it did today on November 4th, 2024. Truly a wild year for Lost Media. Now if we could just find me and my friends. So what's next? According to Mary JN, the band is actually going to reunite to record an updated version of the song. The same exact thing happened with the Booth Brothers and Ulterior Motives, and I just love seeing these relatively obscure groups and bands get the recognition they finally deserve after all these years. It's one of the more wholesome parts of the internet and Lost Media in general. general. So I'm sure we'll be hearing more of FEX and Subways of Your Mind over the coming weeks and months, but until then, we can all rest easy knowing that we did it, Reddit. Thank you so much for watching this quick video. If you have any other topics you want to see me cover, be sure to let me know in the comments. And also consider becoming a member if you want to support me and the content I create over here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, be kind to one another, stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Get out of here.